Hello and good day to you, my beautiful friends. I do hope you're well. Welcome to episode 134 of Cross Button VR, our journey into the world of VR. I'm your host, Reece, and it's an honor to be joined by Yacine Salmi, the founder and CEO of Salmi Games, the creators of Sweet Surrender. How you
Thanks
doing?
for having me, Reese. I'm really excited to chat with you.
You're welcome. I've been looking forward to this. I've been chatting with you a bit on Twitter. I've enjoyed Sweet Surrender. I think I've said that quite openly. Obviously, I reviewed it on my own channel and things like that. It's a good game. I've enjoyed it, um, and I thought it'd be quite nice to get you on and just talk about the game, what your kind of process was, and the whole kind of change in the industry and things like that. There's a kind of I feel like there's been a bit of a shift. So
There's been a
I
shift or
there's
two.
been a shift or two. Probably been more than that. Let's be honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got a few questions for you. Nothing, I say nothing too in depth. It's one of the things where it's as in depth as you want to go with it, and that's how I like these questions. I can give you a question, you can give me a yes or no answer, or just a But it's very much a if you want to go really in depth with it, it's your time to. It lets you speak out about the whole development side of it, and I think it's quite interesting as well for consumers and things like that. But yeah, so we'll start off very easy, very easy.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I'm Yacine. I run a studio based in Munich, Germany. Uh, we're a six-man team, and we're primarily known for Sweet Render, but we're working on a spiritual successor to the game. Uh, yeah.
Wait, is
And
that an exclusive? Have you already announced this?
we've kind of we haven't been hiding it that we're working on a
Ah, okay,
successor. Yeah,
okay.
yeah, but it's I've
Damn.
never said it in a video.
There we go.
Maybe said it in our Discord so far. No, we're working on a spiritual successor. It's going to be multiplayer first, co-op first, and in kind of the visual style, Sweet Surrender, but kind of more next gen. And we're trying to take everything we learn about VR, about shooters in VR, and our experiences with Sweet Surrender, and apply it to our next game.
That
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah.
Uh,
And in terms of background, I started my career in the UK, actually. Uh,
that would
that,
explain. Yeah, I was going to say actually when I started speaking to you, I was like, you've not got like a German accent or anything. It's
no, no.
no,
Well,
it's
yeah, it's funny. I'm originally from Morocco, but I grew up in the US. Uh, so I
wow.
always like to say
You've
I'm
travelled a
culturally,
bit. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Damn.
Um, but I'm not American from a legal citizenship point of view, and I've been living in Germany for yeah, almost 20 years now. Yeah.
Is Germany the
So
longest you've lived somewhere?
actually, yeah,
Oh,
it's
damn.
it's really weird.
There we go.
It's yeah,
Yeah.
Germany has become my home, even though I'm not fluent in the language. I can speak it, but yeah, I've lived here longer than I lived in any other place. So I
Wow.
made it my home. Yeah,
And you say you can't speak the language fluently?
I can speak enough to survive in a day to day, but
Yeah, I suppose that's all you need, isn't it?
my kids are already embarrassed of my German skills. But
They're your translators. That's all it is.
that's right.
You just walk to shops like translate what that person just said for me, please.
Exactly. Uh, did I say that correctly? No. Oh, sorry.
0 out of 10. Do better. So, I mean, do you want to let us know some of the other releases you've worked on? Because obviously, I was always this is poor on me, and but there you go. I'm always transparent with people. I uh, I always had a feeling you guys worked on other stuff, but I never actually looked back at your previous games. So, yeah, if you want to let
Yeah.
us know about some of those, obviously, I have
Yes.
just skimmed through them after you told me. So,
Sure. Our first title was actually a flat game. It was called Ellipsis, and it was like an avoid 'em up. I like to use that
and
term.
avoid them up.
Avoid 'em up instead of a shoot 'em up. So you control it's very abstract. You're controlling a sphere and you're trying to avoid enemies. And it was our first title. After that, we did two very small or two very indie budget VR games. One of them is called Late for Work, which was like a asymmetric multiplayer game.
I'm
One
actually
person in the
looking at the
headset.
games while you're saying them. I'm actually looking at them on here.
Yeah.
So,
So in VR you play as a giant gorilla, and up to four other players can play with controllers on a monitor on split screen. And my original intention for that game was to try to this was early on in VR. Like I really dislike the like when you put on a VR headset, it like isolates you from anybody else in that room.
Yeah,
And so you're playing, you're having fun, but everybody else is just looking on at you. And I wanted to kind of like
include them as well.
cross that divide. Yeah,
There's still
include.
some there's still some games that do that, but just still to this day, not a lot that kind of utilize that. You had some on the PSVR1 that did it. You've still got some to this day on PC that do it. I mean,
Yep.
what
Yep.
was it? Containment Initiative. He did it with the second one, which worked
Right.
out quite well. One person plays in VR, one person plays on the PC, which it was fine. But yeah, you don't see a lot of studios doing it or taking advantage of that. And I feel like the PlayStation's a good, perfect place to do that as well because of the social screen aspect.
Absolutely right. That's interesting. I it's maybe because it's like a niche within a niche, so it's like you're
Yeah,
playing VR and you've got friends over. Uh,
and we all know VR players don't really have real life friends. Okay, all right,
right. Yeah.
yeah,
But I mean, that was our attempt at that, and like we have a few game modes in there, and then our follow up title is called Growrilla, and that was inspired by Katamari Damacy. I don't know if you're familiar with that game where
yes, I am.
you roll up that ball and you just get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's just so delightful. Uh, so this is you're a gorilla. You start small, and the more food you eat, the bigger you get, and so you start like you're 2 foot high and 2 foot tall, and then you can grow to giant size. And
That actually sounds like a good laugh. To be fair, like
yeah, it is a good laugh.
genuinely, I am actually tempted to pick that one up and play that one. So
Uh,
there we go.
uh, and then we did the Sweet Surrender, and Sweet Surrender was our first proper funded game where we had a bit of a budget and we could yeah build a real game.
Yeah.
Um, and in 2 years ago, we also ported and published Eye of the Temple to the Quest platform. So that's really good. Uh, it was a really good PCVR game, and we worked with the designer to bring it over to Quest. And we've done a few other collaborations, but Sweet Surrender and our next game have been our main focus the last couple of years.
Okay. And is porting something you still would ever consider doing again, or is it just was that just kind of like a one-off thing?
Definitely would consider doing it again, but it was not just a port; it was like a partnership,
Oh, okay.
and like,
Yeah, like a full-on in-depth thing. Yeah.
yeah, it was our first time publishing somebody else's title, and it was a way to like kind of spread our risk a bit. And I'd love to do more in that direction, but it's so hard to scale as an indie studio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I bet it's
like
time consuming as well. And then at the end of it all, as weird as it sounds, it's almost like I've put this out, but it's just not a thing that I've made that I've put out. So I suppose it's not as kind of rewarding as like, well, this is a game we've just made and we've released this, and you're all seeing this kind of thing. This
yeah,
this is an original idea from us, and I kind of feel like that's probably what developers will get more, especially like ones that have to just constantly port stuff. I feel like you'd get more self fulfillment if you're actually developing the game and releasing something that you're proud of.
absolutely. I mean, what attracted us to Eye of the Temple is that it was a really great game,
Yeah,
and it felt like our experience could translate over to that. And we were speaking of how the industry has been changing or evolving. Like that's another title I wish we had released a year earlier on the Quest, because already in 23 you could see the market starting to shift. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Like I
uh,
feel like thankfully in a weird way, like that. I kind of, but part of me still wishes I jumped because I didn't jump into the Quest ecosystem until I want to say maybe 2023, October 2023, possibly whenever the Quest 3 released. That was when I
yeah,
got it, so it must have been 2023. I stuck with the PSVR one, kind of fell off of it a little bit because I just found that it stagnated, and then didn't bother going to Quest 2 and for that, and I just waited for the PSVR 2. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm loving VR again. Let's jump into other VR. And I literally went from Quest 3 over to PC VR and, absolutely having a blast with all these various titles. But I feel like now that I've kind of hit the Quest ecosystem, I'm seeing all these titles that I've missed out on, and that's really exciting. But in that short amount of time, I've also seen that shift on like the store and things like that. Like even today, I was looking for the Black Friday sale on the MetaQuest store. How do I even get to the store tab anymore? I can't find it. So it's a bit of a. I was like, I just want to buy something. Let me
yeah,
buy something on your store, okay? But I
yeah.
can't find. the sales section.
Yeah. Please make it easy for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Just make it easy for me to spend my money. You know what I mean? Like that's all I want in life. I've earned it. I want to spend it. So I could kind of see where like what you mean, like in the sense, like you know, I feel like VR. While on the outside, I think people look in, it kind of looks like it's moving slow. Like being inside of the industry and kind of like seeing how it's moving. Like in 2 years, I feel like it's shifted quite rapidly. Not in terms
Yeah.
of releases, but also just generally in terms of how companies are kind of managing what they're doing as opposed to what they're actually showing off that they're doing. A bit like Meta, for instance. I mean, with like Deadpool that recently released, I feel like we got the first trailer and we got nothing else until it just kind of dropped 5 day. They did the 5 day thing and all that kind of stuff. I feel like that was never like that at Batman. So it just kind of shows this kind of a bit of a change in the whole kind of shift up.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, how many big games came out in the last 2 weeks on the Quest,
Yeah,
let alone on PSVR2, but like just on Quest, like last week, 6 major titles dropped.
and you put
Uh,
you. This is the thing. I'm one of these. Oh, I'm a content creator kind of thing. And I can rest assured, I don't know all 6 titles that released last week on the Quest. When games come out on the PSVR2, I feel like I kind of notice them more because I feel like it's not as. And I will say it, even though I'll probably get hate for it. I feel like not as many titles drop there in one week as it does on like. I feel like on PS2 you get like 2 or 3 releases a week, but sometimes on Quest you'll get like 10 games just drop out of nowhere, and it's like, why weren't these spaced apart a bit better?
so many topics there.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. I'm literally. I thought you was going to go off subject here, but it's already me. I'm kind of like,
yeah,
it's
it's
interesting.
all good.
So let's go back to it. What actually kind of made you want to get into developing games and VR games? Is it always something you kind of started off doing? Did you learn it, or did you kind of go, oh, I want to make a game?
Games. I've always wanted to make games since my childhood, and I'm kind of just really grateful that I managed to eventually find a career into games. VR games in particular, it, 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 it it was like first I didn't believe VR games were possible for a long time.
Okay.
Even when the first Oculus stuff was appearing, it wasn't until like John Carmack got involved and was like, "Yes, this works. Yes, we can make it work." I didn't think it was possible to get the latency low enough for a VR game to be for your brain to be tricked. But it turns out there's some amazing engineers that solved these problems, and it just worked. And
Yeah.
once I realized this technology was possible, it was just uh, I but I think eventually 10 years, 15, 20 years, whatever, we'll all be wearing glasses like 8 to 10 hours a day. That's maybe dystopian future, but the way everybody's on their phones all the
Just
time,
press a
like,
button and you can go downstairs so you can quickly converse with the rest of your family. It's like that
yeah,
scene in oh what was it? Oh, I feel like it was Video Game High School. It was an old like web series, but he comes through the door and his mum's on a VR headset. That's how it is in the future. Like the people just in these VR glasses.
I, I think that's the way it'll be. And then it'll be this whole counter movement like, oh, I'm not wearing my glasses today. I'm back to nature or something. Uh,
I
but
touched grass.
yeah. No, it's one day the technology will be good enough and fast enough that like using virtual displays in your glasses is better than using real world displays, and like the feeling you get when you take them off is like you're losing a part of you. Like it'll augment your life in such a way that you'll feel.
You're explaining a future while some part of me's like that's cool, another part of me's like I don't like this.
Yeah, I
I
know.
I like
Uh,
feeling like I'm in the cool kids club, like when I'm like, oh guys, I'm playing this game in VR and I'm actually inside this world, and people are like, no, that's dumb. And then 2 years later, like, oh my god, I finally tried VR, and you were totally right. I feel like I'm in that cool club, like constantly. Now, if everyone's
yeah.
using them, I'm just gonna feel like that person again that's not cool. Not that
Yeah.
I am cool or anything, but I can kind of feel like I'm cool for a second. Let me have that.
Well, it's still far away in the future, right?
Cool.
Like it'll stay 10 to 15 years away for a while, I think.
Yeah,
But
in 20 years' time, I'm sure I'll probably be like, oh, my eyes are ruined from the other 20 years I spent playing VR, so I probably wouldn't be able to go in the goggles anymore.
yeah, but I was just really attracted to this space and the possibilities of it. Like games have been around for like digital games for 40 years or so, and like they keep evolving, but like VR was this brand new design space. Like how do you know, what's comfortable in VR, what kind of interactions are fun or feel good, like what type of games work and don't work, and it felt like this big blue ocean, and like we could carve out a niche within that space while that market slowly grows. So that's like how we decided to pivot into VR games back in 2016, 2017. Yeah.
Fair play. And I mean,
Mm.
I've said this a few times before. Like I've noticed, especially this year more so than last year, I've noticed some VR developers have kind of released their VR game to not much success and kind of now teetered back into non VR. And I'm assuming they've kind of done that to hope to kind of reach a wider audience and make more sales. And while it's upsetting, I also kind of understand the decision, completely respect it. Um, is that something you ever feel you would do? Would you ever feel like you'd make another non VR game? I'm not saying because if a game your next game fails or anything. I'm more saying, would you ever feel like you'd try making another non VR game, or are you now set as a VR developer?
I think we're pretty set as a VR developer, but we're not closing any doors for the future.
Yeah,
Like, I hope our next game is. I've
I think by saying multiplayer is already one reason why people be like, oh, okay, that's going to add more level of fun to it, kind of thing. Because
absolutely,
VR is
but
great in co-op. It's one of them things where you've got somebody next to you and you're like, okay, this feels like I'm
it
next to you. Like this is crazy.
exactly.
So
Yeah, it really enhances that presence
yeah,
feeling. Yeah,
it
and
definitely works.
yeah, but the realities are that the market is smaller than it was a few years ago.
Yeah,
And like Meta did so much to, I don't say prop up the market, but like they pumped a lot of money into creating some form of ecosystem, both on, you know, discounting hardware, creating the Quest headset, and funding a lot of developers, a lot
yeah.
of projects. Uh, right now, they're like the only ones funding anything. Like Sony's not funding anything in VR, right? They haven't been for a while.
I mean,
Uh,
there's the whole kind of it's never open. There's the assumption that there must be some money that's changed hands with like Resident Evil's exclusive VR modes, Hitman being exclusive on PlayStation for a year. And I personally myself, I do think okay, some money must have changed hands for them to want to make that exclusive their own, especially the Resident Evil ones. I think they would make a killing on like putting that to PC as well. So I think in some regards, I think maybe there is, but I just think again, I think this is one thing I find quite interesting. It's almost like the devs that are involved in that side of stuff, we never hear about it. We never know if actually, oh, yeah, no, Sony totally funded this for us. They wanted us to make this. You never hear that. It's just players going, I mean, if I was in the business, would I really just put that on one platform? But at the same point, loads of developers release games for just one platform. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not an unheard of thing. So who knows? Maybe it is just well, we wanted to do this on here because this is where we decided to develop it. But I mean, with Capcom, I think that one's pretty much a given. They have a good, strong relationship with Sony, so I think they're funding that kind of third party VR stuff. And I mean, I'm going to be honest, yeah, if all I get, if every other developer stopped developing on PSVR2, all I got was one Resident Evil game every time it released in VR, I'd probably still say it was worth the money. Like,
Fair enough. Yeah.
but that's just me. That's not everyone. Obviously, I've still got the Quest and PC to go to and play, so I have that other kind of thing that I can enjoy. But no, I think it would be nicer to hear more developers going, yeah, Sony completely did this. This is what they pushed, and I think the consumers need to hear that as well, more so than anything. I think
Well,
they need to hear that for their faith.
I think what I think what Sony has been pumping their funding in VR the last year or 2 years has been in the hardware, like
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
the price cuts and stuff like that. That's been kind of their approach, at least that's what I've heard. Um, like Apple's not. Apple even is also funding a couple titles for through like their Apple Arcade program, and Valve is not funding anything. Meta's been like
yeah.
the big gorilla in the room. And that's fine. Like
Meta's just like,
each has,
yeah, go on.
yeah, but all of their each of their companies have like, or let's say Meta and Sony, they've both shifted strategies, like pretty.
Yeah,
That's what we feel from the developer's point of
I
view.
mean, I think even from an outside point of view, like a consumer, like when I first picked up the PSVR2, I didn't start doing content creating around it at that point or anything. But like as a consumer picking up the PSVR2, I kind of look at it as they never looked at the PSVR2 going this way. I think in their eyes, they thought it was gonna do a lot better straight out the gate. And I think if it did do a lot better straight out of the gate, I think we would have seen a completely different approach. But obviously, it went from not every PSVR1 user picking up this headset to then it kind of not stagnating, but them kind of putting work into other projects and things like that, which again, I completely understand. You're going to stick to working on, let's work on Wolverine instead of a VR game, and it completely makes sense.
Sure,
I can't argue that logic.
sure.
But it's just I find the industry can be quite interesting, but also very like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised the PSVR 2 even happened at all. Like, it was a nice surprise, and it's a really awesome piece of hardware.
Oh yeah, it's great, and I think you've done a good port as well. So
Mm.
I mean, and we'll definitely touch on the porting process of that because I've heard so many different stories about porting to PlayStation and things like that, and what it can be like with developing on that headset as opposed to you know putting your game on Quest as opposed to putting it on PC and things like that. So I've always kind of wondered how that process can be to develop your
Yeah,
game there. So we'll, I mean, if we want to dive into that now, let's dive into that.
sure,
Good
sure,
little segue straight into it.
absolutely. So the porting process was like, was it like difficult to port? It was yes in some ways and no in other ways. So our code base was super, super old. Like, we Sweet Surrender was built on top of Gorilla, which was built with pieces of Late for Work, which like it goes all the way back to Ellipsis. We still have code from that in
I
there.
mean, that's
Yeah.
surprising. I could kind of see it with Late for Work and Gorilla, but I wouldn't have been able to say Sweet Surrender was made like even in any way using anything from that.
Our build process still has stuff from like 2015, and so there was a lot of legacy code that we had to work through. So first, what we did is in house we did a massive upgrade. Like, we had to do 5 years worth of engine upgrades, and we switched from the Meta's SDK to OpenXR, which is like the big standard, and uh, we had to do some complex stuff with our shaders to switch from one color space to another. It was like a requirement for PlayStation. Uh, but we also worked with a small porting studio, like a mom and pop shop in they're they're called Nelly Vision. They're based in Brighton,
Okay.
and they're like two awesome people who have tons of knowledge about PSVR, and they helped us a lot with um, all the platform specific stuff like achievements and leaderboards, but also showing us the ropes on the back end and just helping us deal with some of like the lesser known
Yeah, to make it go a bit more
issues you might run
smooth.
into.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was awesome. So there was a lot of work we had to carry just to get ready to do the port, and then we worked with them to get that first version going, and then we iterated together. And we ran into a bunch of weird issues, like um, so the game runs at 90 on PSVR 2,
Yep.
but for a while we were on 60 with reprojecting to 120, um, and that like surfaced a bunch of bugs that we never experienced before, or that we only experienced very rarely on Quest. And so, like, we actually managed to fix a lot of bugs as well in this process, which was really cool. We had this every now and again, an enemy would become unkillable. Like their physics was just somewhere across the world, and on PlayStation it was happening very often, and it was a challenging bug to track down, but we finally did and fixed it permanently. So that was kind of cool. And we also ran into weird performance issues that were less on the graphics side and more on the CPU side. Our AI was just doing really inefficient things that we managed to fix, and performance smoothed out in a lot of our levels.
Before you dive into the next bit, I mean, can I ask how long the porting process actually took? Like from because I feel like Sweet Surrender and yourself and everything. I feel like it was pretty silent about this coming to PSVR2 until like pretty much a month before release.
Yeah,
So how long was you
yeah.
actually working on the port?
About 6 months altogether. So we announced it in early October. We made a decision in April and kind of started diving in May to do all the May June was a lot of the upgrade stuff on our side, and then our partners could do the first pass once we were ready.
Okay, so
Uh,
not as long as I hear with like some other ports. I mean, again, I think it's different processes, not different process, but
yeah.
different situations for each developer, depending on what they're actually porting to the PSVR2. I think that makes a big difference as well.
No, yeah, we had like a decent abstraction of like our achievements and leaderboards because we had also brought the game over to Pico back in 2022. Um, but yeah, we only decided to do the port this year because we were just not ready last year. Like there was still a lot of things we knew we would need to upgrade, and we didn't have the time or resources to do it, like to do it properly.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
I,
understandable.
I yeah, like in this past year, I think we we must have fixed 100, 150 different bugs. Like there's been a lot of like quality of life improvements that we've made to the core game that we needed to do this before like doing a proper console release, and that's what PlayStation is a console. Like
Yeah,
it's uh,
I, s- I-
even yeah,
I was gonna say I feel like a lot of developers come to PSVR2 sometimes just to turn around and say to people, "My game's on PlayStation." Like,
I
I feel like it's so, and I don't mean this in any way because I don't develop anything, but like I feel like from what I've heard, like it's a lot easier to get your game on Quest, it's a lot easier to get your game
sure.
on Steam, but whereas like getting your game on a home console that's been played since like PS1, just to turn around and go, "Yeah, I've got a game on PlayStation," kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like sometimes that's the end goal of it, really, more so than anything else.
it is. It's an absolute pride thing. Yeah, like I can tell anybody on the street, yeah, or on PlayStation, they'll know what a PlayStation is, right?
Yeah.
Uh, whether or not they're into VR. Uh,
That's it.
uh,
Life goal achieved. Don't need to do anything more now. I'm on
uh,
PlayStation.
exactly. But it's like the store, even Sony store has been opening up more. It's very self-service now, and it's there's still a higher bar to get in there, but it has been opening up more, and you can kind of see that with
Yeah.
the number of releases, non-VR releases as well. Like
I mean, you say a higher bar to release on there, but then some of the stuff that releases that just shouldn't be releasing anywhere, where it's like clones of games that have been released that are very prominent, or AI generated games that are now on there. It's like it baffles me how I hear
yeah,
like so many stories of developers like, "Yep, we're at the sixth round of certification, guys. We're really struggling to get through." And I'm like, in that meantime, like six AI generated games have just popped up, and I'm like being forced to buy them at this point. Like
it's crazy. It's
it's
crazy.
baffling.
Yeah, because I guess once you've gone through the process once, it becomes a lot easier. But
Yeah.
like there is still a process. Like I heard like the certification, it really depends on who you get at the other end,
Ah, okay.
testing your game. And it's quite interesting.
Oh,
Uh,
it's Salmi. He's coming through again to port his next game. Oh, don't want to help him. No, leave him behind.
it's not. It's
He was a right pain the last time with that sweet surrender.
it's really interesting what issues they focus on and what they don't. Like they really care about language and what terms you use, and like not using non-PlayStation terms or like grip and trigger. You got everything's got to be Sony specific, which is fine.
Do they
Like it's
tell
a
you off if you say X button or cross button? Do they tell you off of which one you're allowed to use?
you have like there's like two 120 page PDF documents about terminology on yeah. Again, that's
Brilliant.
totally fine. It's their trademarks and
Yeah, no, I
copyrights and
completely understand
branding.
it. I think
Uh,
that's at the end of the day, when you're as big as Sony, you got to protect the brand, haven't you? You're not gonna,
absolutely.
and I respect that. I value that. You don't want somebody to release something on there. I mean, I still find it funny when sometimes I can't remember what trailer it was, but I remember a trailer releasing on there and it had the Meta Quest in the trailer, and I was like, "Is that allowed? Like, is that really something they're going to be happy with?" And I can't remember what game it was. I feel like the trailer did get changed after a while, but
Probably
yeah,
somebody missed something. Yeah.
it's like somebody just like just pushed it through certification, and like I was like, It's got a quest in it. I can't remember what game it is. I have to try and find it actually. I think I
That's
think I
funny.
might be able to, I think I might know what game it is. I'm not gonna call them out just in case I'm wrong, but I think I might remember. I'm gonna have a look after this. Um,
But
so,
I just want to say, like, working with Sony was also very nice. Like, um, in the past, I didn't want to bring our game to the PlayStation because I knew it was going to be a pain.
yeah,
And like the systems, the back a lot of, like there's still a lot of the history there. You can see that, but it's become a lot more self-service. It's you can use it yourself. The support is really good. I I enjoyed working on PlayStation. Yeah,
it's nice to hear that. It's really nice to hear that because I think sometimes, and especially with like a lot of people that want games to come to PSVR2, I feel like sometimes it's like there's always horror stories, isn't there? And I feel like some developers have had those horror stories and they kind of share them and things like that. I I mean, I've heard some things and things like that, but obviously, again, I'm not going to go into detail because they're not my stories to share. But
yeah,
the point of the matter is, like, obviously, it does, and I mean, you developers all talk to each other. You one time you'll say something to somebody, and you'll be like, "Oh, this is what my experience is." And it's also nice for you to say, "Actually, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be." I think that's quite actually a nice thing to kind of hear there because, yeah, I was expecting to be like, "Oh, dude, it was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare."
no, you know, Sony's come a long way. Like I started my career at like a studio that eventually got bought by Sony.
Oh, damn.
So I got to see
Can
part
you
of
say what studio that was?
that was Evolution Studios.
Oh, okay.
They did WRC beforehand, and the MotorStorm
Yeah.
series and Drive Club. Yeah,
Damn.
um,
That is
I got to see the other side of Sony. Like, yeah,
So you've
uh,
been well, you've worked with Sony for quite some time then. So I suppose as well, this is almost like coming full circle, putting your
it is. Yeah,
self-release game on there and all that kind of stuff, which is damn. That's crazy.
yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's a lot easier to work with Sony than it used to be. So, like, kudos on them for they've continuously improved their systems within this massive corporation that they are, like at whatever speed things can move in such a big place. It's you can get most of the stuff done yourself, and it's really quite self-service. So that's pretty cool.
Fair play.
Uh,
Awesome.
uh,
Right.
um,
That's the what actually
I don't know if I.
what actually drove your decision to port the game though? Like was people asking for it or did you just go, I want to port this game to PS3 too?
I mean, we've had people asking for it over the years, like every now and again. It was like previously, I was always just like turned off by the technical challenge of bringing it to the platform, but we've kind of already discussed that. Um, and I was like, I always had, I'm only gonna bring it to the platform if Sony funds it. And Sony for a VR title, when they did fund stuff, they would only fund you if you were an exclusive or at least appearing on the platform the same day. And with Sweet Surrender, we had discussions, we just couldn't make it work. Like we were too far along in development. We already had commitments with Meta. Like
Yeah.
our team was not experienced enough to pull it off. We could have gotten extra funding, but it would have been too stressful, and maybe it was a wrong decision, but it was a decision we made back then. But yeah, so funding dried up, at least from what we heard, and we had heard from quite a few developers that had quite positive experiences on PSVR2, like especially in that first year after release. Um,
That's
and as you mentioned, like yeah, the landscape has changed quite a bit in VR. Like the Quest stores changed, it's opened up. I would say like even Meta will say that overall revenue for developers has grown this past year. Like there's a lot more developers there, so you're sharing your piece of the pie is
yeah.
getting smaller.
And
Yeah,
obviously I suppose getting with like Sweet Surrender being on that platform for so long, I suppose at this point you don't really get
yeah,
anyone taking a piece of that pie with Sweet
yeah,
Surrender. They kind of just gloss over it and go, "Oh, 1 minute, Sweet Surrender's out, but hey, I can jump onto this game that just came out 2 weeks ago, and that, yeah,
yeah,
that's now
and
cheaper or
yeah.
something along them
I,
lines." So
I mean, every update we release helped get visibility again and get people into it again. But like, yeah, it's slowly just decreasing over time. And
it's a shame.
we thought like yeah, that the game has matured enough that we could bring it to another platform. Like that. One of my worries whenever I release a game is like, are people going to run into weird bugs that just break the game? Like
The only
that's
bug I had was walking into a room and seeing the whole room just fly up in the air. Like, and I don't mean like the room itself. I mean like every
like the
object in it.
colliders.
Yeah, every
Yeah,
object. And I remember messaging you. Was like, yeah, that's just something with the colliders. It just kind of hit something that's not there, and it just kind of flies up. And I'm like, okay. Thankfully, it only happened once, and it was almost like a it was quite humorous. It didn't bother me, and I find it. This is why sometimes I feel like I'm not bad for making reviews. It's almost like I feel like some things, when you get to bits in games, you kind of like, but does that really matter? Did that change anything about the game or how it felt or how it played? No. If anything, it was just kind of like, well, that was fucking weird. And it kind of
yeah.
reminds you of them old things in like playing video games. If something just doesn't go right, and like that was odd.
That was a weird
Yeah,
glitch, or
exactly. It just
yeah,
I don't know. It just
is it game breaking or not? If you get a glitch every 3 seconds, then yeah, it's
it just
destroying the
it just
experience.
makes me think of like the process of how they made Goat Simulator, where there's like, if a weird bug happens, cool, we're leaving it in there. If it's game
Yeah,
breaking, we'll take it out. And I
yeah,
kind of just, in a weird way, like when I look at Goat Simulator, I'm like, I love that approach. I want somebody to make like a Goat Simulator style game in VR, where it's just like, I don't mean to make you feel sick or anything, but like things just going weird with the world, and you're like, what the hell? But
yeah. Just lean into
yeah,
it.
exactly. Just see how it works.
Yeah,
That could be
I
trippy though.
yeah. I mean that particular bug is due to our like the way our rooms are set up. Like each room has like dozens of different variations, and if one variation has left an object where another object's going to appear, then they're just like
Ah, okay.
collide, and it's just like testing all those variations or combinations can be
And
tricky.
and
Yeah,
randomly, how difficult would that be to fix something like that?
if we know what room it's in and we can like spot the variation, then it's usually pretty easy for
Okay.
us to fix it.
But
But
obviously,
there's
with the way the rooms generate and things like that, it does make it a bit more difficult, doesn't it?
and we've fixed many of them in the past. Yeah. That's kind of like when we launch in when we launched on Quest, like the game was not done. Like there was like all the core systems were in and you could play through it, but like there were still so many bugs in there, and it was not the final vision of the game that I had. Like so, then we spent since then we've fixed any bugs that have been raised to us, and like we've tried to keep improving it. But for PlayStation, we just felt like okay, the game is solid enough. Like it's a cool experience. There is a demand for shooters. There are a lot of shooters, but there's a demand for shooters on PlayStation, and we've heard a lot of positive things from other developers. So
Yeah.
uh, it felt like
People
I could
like
time
fast
box
paced
it.
shooters. Yeah. They do like
Yeah,
fast paced shooters.
and it's an arcade shooter as well. So maybe it's more suited for console couch VR gaming experience and
And
um,
I think even though it is like a roguelike or
yeah,
roguelite, I know the
yeah,
difference between the two, but I'm going to be
yeah.
honest, with you, I just don't care enough to
Yeah, who
define
cares, right?
your game of. I'm sorry, I don't mean to say, but I mean just any roguelike or roguelite. I know the
Sure.
difference. I just don't care enough. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Um, so it's just one of those things. It's like, and so many people correct me for it. And I'm like, dude, don't care. But my point is like, I think in terms of your one, I feel like it's probably one of the more accessible roguelikes that I have played. Like I feel like on my first time playing, even though I did die when I got towards the end, but I had no trouble getting towards the end on my first time through. And it feels like it kind of amps up very slowly. And when I say very slowly, I mean like maybe like 10% each level. And it feels like on the last of it may jump to like 50% difficulty. And I think the way the difficulty is done is really well, as opposed to somewhere it's like this is the first time jumping in, and you're going to get absolutely destroyed in the second room you walk in. You're like, oh, cool. Well, I've got no upgrades to do because I died straight away, and it's like that, and
Yeah.
it's so brutal. Whereas this, I was like, okay, that that wasn't too difficult for me to get through the first part. I'm now happy to go in again. Whereas if you make it where it's so difficult to start, you're like, I don't really fancy going back in there, and it removes that kind of one more run type of feel. And I think
Absolutely.
that's one thing I did like about Sweet Surrender because I remember actually you sent over a key. I think it was the same week, or maybe the week before Reach came out or something like that. And I was more interested in wanting to carry on playing Sweet Surrender because I was addicted to just having that one more run thing than wanting to jump into a story game. I was like, I'll have time. I'll play this for one more night. I'll have time to jump into that because
Yeah,
embargoes and things like that. So I was like,
yeah.
I'll have time. So it was very much a thing like that, and I think you've done that quite well, and I think that still kind of works in its favour.
That's cool. And I mean that's what I love about roguelikes personally. It's like that I can play something for 30 minutes or an hour and get one or a few runs in and it feels satisfying. And
Yeah.
we worked hard to get that early experience to not be too brutal to the player and to feel fair. And it's possible we've gone too far in making it easy. Like we've added a lot of different upgrades, but one of the things we have on our roadmap is to rebalance that sort of second half
Oh, can
of the game.
can you wait until I get the platinum before you do any
Yeah,
rebalancing?
sure, sure.
Cheers.
Don't worry.
Give me a
No.
couple of months, and I'll jump back in and try and get the platinum when I get a minute. I think you did the
For sure.
classes quite well. Like, and I know again, I'm kind of like swearing, like going off of where like what drove you to port the game, but I'm
Yeah,
kind of I feel like at this point I'm kind of saying what kind of makes this game good for people that want to jump into a rogue. Like, while it is a game that's very similar to a lot of games that have been out, I'm not necessarily saying on PlayStation, but just in general, roguelites is something that a lot of people do release in VR.
yeah,
But I love the whole element of the class as well because it's almost like when you look at them like, well, that's a plus and minus for every class. It's not like a you can play as the medic and you have X amount more health and that's it. That's your plus. There was like a minus of things. So I was like, well, this makes everything more challenging in a way. So I'm just going to
yeah,
carry on playing as the merc because that just makes more sense to me.
yeah. It's. I think that's what roguelites, or
Or
good ones
whatever.
are interesting. Yeah, or whatever exactly. I like to say that our game is roguelike with roguelite elements, just to mess with everyone.
Yeah, just
No,
'cause you
but
want to annoy people. That's what that
yeah,
is. It's because you don't
it's
know what you want to be, basically.
exactly. Well, it's a trade-off. Like, or I mean, that's what big good roguelikes. I think is that trade-off.
Yeah,
Like, you're gonna get stronger, but you're taking more risk, or you're gonna get stronger but weaker in a different way. Uh, My original vision with Sweet Surrender was like super hardcore roguelike. So without the classes, without anything, like just a brutal roguelike. But it I think that only works if you make a really great game. Like if you have really a lot of time to balance everything and keep the content fresh and make each decision like worthwhile. Like, uh, and we didn't have that. I think I would need at least another year on the game
yeah,
of full focus development. So like we added a lot of elements to kind of find a balance between that hardcore experience and something you actually want to replay and that adapts to that offers different challenges to different types of players. Like some people are really good at shooters and they just walk through the whole game, and that's why we
yeah.
have the lunatic mode.
Shooters are my main
Yeah,
thing I play. So
yeah,
it's kind of like I felt at home playing it. And again, the weapons feel good, and using the samurai swords, you can deflect the bullets. Oh, mate.
nice.
Something so simple in a game can make me feel so much like a badass. You did well on that one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this go on to something else. I mean, and I think this kind of jumps into the other main topic of how the industry's changed. But do you feel
Yeah.
like the game does well in 2025 as it did in 2021? Now,
What?
this works quite well as for you as a question because I know you've released on a different ecosystem, but you've also released in two different years, and
Yeah.
you can kind of assess whether the sale from like the 2021 part was equally as good as 2025, which I feel like it's not going to be, which is a shame. But I'm interested.
Well, I mean, 2021. So 2020 to 2022 was like the golden era of Quest releases. Like. In terms of how many headsets were out there, how many of them were being used actively. So like from us financially, 2021 was much better than this year, uh, which is a shame. But yeah, it's. I mean, you said as well, like maybe maybe there are too many shooters out on the market now. Maybe the bar is even higher today than what it was like in 2021. So it's difficult to compare
Yeah,
exactly.
it
Like
is.
it's
Yeah.
just two
Plus,
different
there's
environments.
other
Yeah.
games as well, and I mean, I think the PSVR2. I think they've kind of hit a point where, like, and again, myself, who is part of the PSVR2 community, we always hear that there's no games in the system. But I mean, if you look at November, the amount of games that have dropped, and I feel like you dropped yours in October, wasn't it? And then
Yeah.
yeah, and then yeah, beginning of October. Because I remember playing it there. It was the week before Reach came out. So yeah, you said 11th, wasn't you?
We announced on the like 9th of October and the release on the 30th.
Oh, okay.
But
Oh, it was a
yeah,
week
like one.
before. Yeah, it came out a week before Reach. I thought it was a week after Reach. I thought it was a week before. My bad. Time's all melding into one. Ever since like I had the house fire, and now I'm kind of like moving back next week. I'm like everything's melded into one. This year's weird.
Yeah,
But
I think we did pick the right time to release. I wish we would have released a year ago,
yeah, I
or
think
like
sooner this year probably would have done better for you as well. I mean,
yeah,
especially if it being what, so you released at the end of October, and then this
n-
month everybody's been hyping up RoboQuest to come out, which is probably the closest thing to what your game is
yeah,
in a short frame time.
yeah,
And that's not a bad thing. Got nothing but love and respect for Flat to VR. They've done a great job of RoboQuest as well. It's
absolutely,
phenomenal, but that's also not saying that your game's not worth playing, because it totally
sure,
is. It's I think both of them have value, and it's very clearly seen if you play both of them. Um, and one thing I still love about your game as well, and I'm going to throw little things in here that I genuinely like as well,
sure.
because I think it's good for the people listening. But the way you've done the upgrades, you kind of find the chips and you slot them into your arm. I love that more so than, oh, it's a card. I read the card, I squash the card, kind of thing. And I'm like, I feel like it's been done a lot. Whereas you was like, okay, you have your upgrades on your body, you can constantly view them. Um, I will say the screen did get a bit busy at times. I think that's probably one of the downsides of it. It does get a bit busy. Um,
We're gonna address that in a patch. So
oh, okay, there we
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, exclusive.
Exclusive. That's right.
Finally, we did it, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Uh,
go into a bit more. Like, I mean, how the industry you think's changed from like 21 to 25, and how that's kind of affecting developers, or at least what you think.
well, I mean, you already touched on it earlier. Like some studios that were doing VR are no longer doing
Yeah,
VR. Like there's been a slowdown. That's quite clear. And there's been like again, I really appreciate what Meta's done to the industry, but in a way they kind of propped it up for a long time.
yeah, and I think it's something other developers have said before.
Yeah,
I think actually one of them said it on here. It's almost like while it's been one of the greatest things for the VR industry, it's also been one of the same things that shot it in the foot. And
yeah,
and other people look at it, oh, because it's got worse off graphics. No, it's not that. It's because they have kind of funded this thing now. Everywhere else is not funding it, and it's almost like, because they look at it, it's like, well, why do we need to fund it if there's that one big company that's pushing everything towards it? So it's now
yeah.
stopped other companies going, well, let's fund all these big titles to come over. And I think that's where it shot itself in the foot. Whereas other people will be like, oh, it's more so because we're getting ports of these Quest games that don't look as good on the better headsets and things like that.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think that's the argument, because I'm not a graphics person. It doesn't bother me. You can give me something with pixelated graphics, and I'll be like, cool, this plays fine. As long as you're not going to use like 100% AI generated stuff throughout the whole game. And there is some games on the PSVR2 that have done that, and I'm almost like, as soon as I play it,
That's
I like,
crazy.
yeah, story being AI generated, voice acting being AI generated. And I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want that. I
No.
want some originality. It does, even if you just give me a small little thing of a stupid voice that you've just picked up or paid someone on Fiverr, just something like that. Absolutely fine with that. But
Yeah, you want that human touch, right?
exactly,
It's
exactly. And I just,
right.
it's a weird one.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think one of the knocks that you could make against our game is like that it was a Quest game or designed visually for Quest and brought over to PlayStation. But like we've made a lot of visual improvements to the game over the years, and like we don't have shadows or real time lighting, but we have our stylized look, which I
I
think
I like
still
it.
looks pretty awesome, to be
Yeah,
honest. Um,
and
and it's still we got some cool post processing shaders on it. There's yeah, it's stylized
I
and
think it
uh,
shows that a game can look good
yep.
but not overly graphical. And I don't know if that's the best wording for it, but I mean, like it looks
I
good.
mean
It's clear,
compound. Yeah,
exactly. And I think a lot of people love Compound, and I think this is one thing I noticed as well when Sweet Surrender released. It was almost like, well, do I buy this or do I buy Compound? And I'm like, well, that's a difficult question, because they both play very differently. If you want a really hard roguelite, go for Compound, because I
yeah,
find that a lot harder. And I do personally, for myself, and I'm happy to say this, I do prefer the art style more of Compound, but that's only simply because I'm still someone who loves playing boomer shooters. I love going back in the day and still playing like the old Doom and things like that. So I still have a
yeah,
connection to that art style.
yeah.
But in no way, shape, or form did I ever play Sweet Surrender and go, ugh, this doesn't look good. never did that come to mind. It looks good. It looks nice. It's clear. And I think it works in its favor because, again, it has that thing where it's like, this is now kind of unique because another game hasn't went, oh, we're going to make a game of that. Because in everybody else's mind, they're going, no, let's make something that looks really good. But no, it does look good. It's just not, I don't know,
Yeah.
Deadpool or Batman Arkham Shadow or whatever you want to compare a good looking VR game to, or what people compare it to be.
Yeah, I mean, I love Compound. I think it's an amazing game, and it looks great as well. I for us, we used the Quest limitation, like back when we were originally designed,
Yeah.
as like a huge like as an opportunity to like go very stylized. Like it's kind of like PS2 era games. They don't look as good as now, but some of them are have this unique look that is kind of timeless,
Yeah.
and that's
It's
kind of
just,
what we were going for. Yeah.
and I feel like, and again, I think that's something what your game has, is the same as what Compound has. Is it's almost, it gives you a feeling of nostalgia because it's the way it looks, but not because it's something you've played before. Like if I play Doom now, I'm like, oh, this is nostalgic. I remember sitting down and eating crappy meals and playing this game. Whereas now I
Yeah.
look at a game that looks like Doom, and I'm like, oh, this is nostalgic because what the art style you've thrown on it. But I think
Yeah.
that's what a lot of people have an issue with as well. They don't know how to tell the difference between an art style and bad graphics. While it may be a limitation, that's why you've done it. It's not necessarily a bad limitation. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
you've kind of
Yeah.
worked with your tools and you've made the best of it, and I think it does work.
Yeah. I- And like,
Do you feel that would have made a difference though if you came over to the PSVR2 and you kind of did this huge
no,
graphical change and the robots looked real and all the weapons look
no.
real? You don't think?
I think what would have made a difference is timing, like when we release, maybe pricing as well.
Yeah, I did see that when because I think you released it on the same week that there was a sale on Quest, wasn't there?
oh yeah, that was unplanned. Yeah, that was. I wonder how many people it affected. We got some comments about it about that too. But
Yeah,
it's
because I saw a few
just
and I was like, "What are you on about? It's cost less on Quest." I thought it was because only off sale is a similar price, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a. I was like, "Why would they?"
It- it-
Because I
yeah, it
saw
was just
someone.
I didn't.
I saw someone say it. I was like, "Why the fuck did they do a sale at the same time?" And then
Yeah,
I saw your response was, "It was a mistake. We didn't mean to." It's like,
yeah.
God
We
damn it.
put that in like 3 months ago, and then like our planned date shifted by a week before we announced it, and it was just like, oh. No, but I actually don't know how much that had an impact. I think just comparing it to other games like Compound is $15 and we're 25 or
Yeah, there's that too.
um, it's all right. Like I don't mind that. Again, maybe we should have just changed the price, but we've been on 25 since 2021. Like maybe I should have made a change last year. But I think if people don't want to pay 25, that's totally fine. They can wish list it. Eventually, it will go on sale, and hopefully they'll pick it up then. And if not, if they still think it's too expensive, then it's
What
the
can
way
you
it
do?
is.
At the
Like,
end of the day,
yeah,
in the industry,
um,
you've got to make a living. If you can't do that, you're never going to make more games, and inevitably your living ends, kind of thing. Do you know what
yeah,
I mean?
and
It's
no, nobody owes us their money.
no.
Like that's fine. Like it's their choice, and we just totally respect that. But that could I think those are two major elements we could have maybe done differently, and it might have led to different results. I wish we'd have launched the game in the first 3 months of the PSVR2 launch. I think
That
that
would
would
have
have
been
been
nice. I
ideal.
think that would have been magical because, again, at that
Yeah,
point in time, you didn't have many roguelikes popping up on the system. You obviously had Synapse that came out a few months after, which kind of, I feel like there was obviously others as well, but I feel like that kind of, for me at least, started that whole kind of like, oh, I want more games like this. Not necessarily
hmm
me levitating people all around, but I want more games like this kind of thing.
yeah.
Because I hate roguelikes outside of VR.
Oh,
I've
interesting.
played a few of them and I can't get on with them. And
Yeah.
while some are playing, I'm like, I don't mind it. Nah, not for me. But in VR, I'm like, yeah, nah, I'm going back in. I can do that. I can do that. And I like that
What
side
what
of it.
what I like about it is um, like a good roguelike again to me takes a run takes 30 to 45 minutes
Yeah,
and that kind of like fits with a good VR session.
exactly.
uh so
I find these type of games
yeah,
as well, they're perfect for, like, when you just turn on your headset and you almost, like, your friend goes, oh, do you want to go jump on some Pavlov or something? And you're like, yeah, cool. And he's like, okay, I'll be on in an hour's time. Like, what do I do with this next hour? Do I take the headset
Right.
off and go rummage around the house? But no, I jump on Sweet Surrender. I do a run, and then I can jump on afterwards. You know, it's one of those things. It's one of them games that you can just start off your VR session, but with enjoyment. And I like those type of games. I don't want to. And I know there's a lot of roguelikes where it's like you can stop it here and start up again later. And I know Sweet Surrender does that. It has that checkpoint thing, which is a great. I
Yeah.
love seeing that. But then there's somewhere it's like I'll be like playing for like an hour, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I don't even feel like I'm near the end of this, and I kind of don't want to stop. I want to go a
Yeah.
bit more. And you go a bit more, and you're almost like, great, now I've died. I knew I should have stopped, kind of thing. It's
Yeah.
whereas like with Sweet Surrender, I was like, I've died. Cool, that took me 20 minutes to get to that point. I don't mind doing that again tomorrow, and it's that kind of thing that I like. That was good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I just still going back to like what is the industry like today? Like I with Meta opening up their store, like you just saw a
Yeah,
big
with the App
shift.
Lab as well. I
Yeah.
think they should never separate App Lab from the main store. I think that was the moment I kind of got into looking at the Meta store, and I think
Mm.
that worked best for it. I found so many games that I would have never heard of that were just fantastic to play, full of passion, and now they're just kind of smothered in Horizon worlds, and I can never find them. And it's such a shame because now I'm reliant on teams having good marketing to kind of push their games. Otherwise, I never hear of it, and that's not how it should be. I should be able to go on a store and go, "Oh, what does that looks interesting? I want to go. I want to
Yeah.
click on that." I don't get that with Meta. I was like I said earlier, I was trying to scroll through for a sale. I shouldn't have to be doing that. Give me a store button page. Let me just go to that. So yeah, it's not going back to ranting
Yeah.
about that because I will fucking just want to spend money.
Yeah, same here, same here. And there's the App Lab merging, and then there's the Horizon World push, and
Yeah,
like I wish that just didn't exist. Like,
and
but
it's weird because, and I've said this to other people, and I'm more than happy to say this, I've jumped into a couple of Horizon worlds. Now they're not something I would ever go to. Well, you need to go out of your way and you need to play this. But there are some that I've played where I was like, "Do you know what? I can't say I disliked playing that." And that's more so like The Office. I enjoyed running around The Office one, have been inside
all
that
right.
kind of world. And I was like, that's cool because I love the show. And then I did the Blumhouse one, but while it looked cool and it was fun to play, the frame drops on it was horrendous. And I know
Mm,
that, you've got to reach a certain amount of frames to, you've got to reach something on Meta, haven't you? It's got to be
absolutely,
you know,
you got requirements.
exactly. And it's like, this world is choppy as shit, and I feel like I want to throw up. And I've been playing VR since 2018. If I feel like I want to throw up in a Horizon world, I'm only scared to be loading this up after a week after release and just hearing all these kids just vomiting in a lobby. So
Yeah,
it's one of them weird ones where well, I
yeah,
never go out
it's
of my way to play anything on Horizon Worlds. I've had some devs go, "Oh, do you want to check out our game on Horizon Worlds?" I'm like, "No, I
mm,
don't,
mm,
because I liked your last game. I might jump into it, but I'm not doing a video unless you really wow me with something that's like, this is awesome." Because it's weird. I almost don't. I want to believe in their vision, but I don't. I don't believe in their vision that they're pushing there. I think they're pushing it too hard. I think they're force feeding it too much. It's not an option at this point. It's a lifestyle, and
yeah, it's
that's
just shoved down everybody's neck. Like
yeah.
it's
I saw a thing on the store earlier on. It was Wednesday's experience, like Netflix Wednesday. Like Adam's Family. I was like, oh, awesome! I didn't know there was a Wednesday game that came out. I was like really hyped. I was like, this is awesome. Tim Burton Wednesday. This is going to be great to jump into. This would be really creepy in VR. And I click on it, and I'm like, oh, it's a Horizon world that looks nothing like fucking Wednesday, and they've literally just used the licensing of the Netflix show, and somehow this is allowed on the store. And I'm like, I've been tricked. I've been bamboozled here, and I was not.
yeah,
I was not pleased by that. I would
there-
genuinely, for a second, thought Netflix had licensed a Wednesday game where I could like walk around with
yeah.
Thing or something. I was hyped.
Yeah, yeah. I think there was like a whole week at some point where like Mario, some Horizon World Mario ripoff was like front page on the store. It's just like
Squid Games was one of the big ones as well, wasn't it? There were people ripping that off.
it's
Yeah,
crazy. It's crazy. And like again, Meta's our partner. Like they help fund Sweet Surrender. They're helping fund our next title. I'm like incredibly grateful for that they've put so much money into the ecosystem. But yeah, the Horizon World thing, I
and
wish that had never happened. Like they could have focused on the Quest as a platform, as a games console,
And I mean,
double down on that. But yeah,
yeah, I mean, like obviously you don't want to moan about them too much. You don't want to pull your
no,
don't want to pull your funding. I don't necessarily think they'll do that. I don't think you're. I think you're not saying you're not saying anything that any other dev has said already at
no,
Outlast.
they know all this, and
Yeah,
there's obviously there's politics
and
inside and conflicting things, and like
I think all there needs to at this point is just make subsections on the store. If I can have a store section where I can just see the normal store stuff, awesome. If you can have a section that's just for Horizon mods, awesome. Just
yeah,
don't blend the two. That's all I'm asking. And
exactly.
that's it. I'm not saying don't do it because there is clearly a market for it and that market is a lot of the kids that buy into this ecosystem, and it clearly does work for them because there is a lot of people in them Horizon worlds. Because every time have jumped in to check out some that devs have asked me to, and then they're packed. They're always packed.
Are they okay?
It's always popping off. Like even like when you go to see like some of the stupid gigs in there, which I've tried before, which were not worth my time, but it was. I think when I first bought my Quest, and I was like, oh, I can go see. I can't remember which one I watched, but there was two that I watched, and one of them I was like, well, this is very inappropriate for like if I'm thinking this is inappropriate, then kids should not be watching this kind of thing.
Sure.
But I jumped into one of those, and literally the whole lobby, I couldn't even hear the music because it was just people talking all around, kind of thing. So it's clearly doing something for them, and clearly that's paying into revenue and things like that, and churning things around, and people are kind of coming in and going. And it's I'm not faulting that. I just want better categorization so I can find what I want to play. And
Absolutely.
also searching a game, like if I searched a suite, it should come up Sweet Surrender, but it doesn't. It's like if I search Batman and I saw a Batman VR, it doesn't come up Batman VR,
That's a nightmare.
and that's
I
yeah.
I don't even want to call it like this search stuff has been
It's an interesting
broken then fixed and broken then
yeah,
fixed like over and over again. It's
and I feel like a lot more devs would be not. I wouldn't say happy. I mean, I feel like devs would be really happy if their games sold and they were constantly successful to the point where they made a profit every single time so they can make another game. And I think devs would be a little bit more less irate with meta if they had it where people could just search their game's name and actually find their game. Like they shouldn't have to rely on people adding links everywhere for somebody to find a game. But it's an interesting one. It really is. And I say all this, but at the same point, I know tonight I'm going to come off this and I'm going to go jump on my quest because I'm absolutely loving my quest, and it's I do I think it's a fantastic.
there's still so much great
Yeah,
content
it's a
there. Like
fantastic
the
headset.
amount of stuff that yeah
I'm gonna
of quality stuff that has been brought to the
I'm gonna
platform
go
is
try Deadpool because I haven't tried it yet, and everybody keeps telling me it's one of the best things that's come out, and I'm like, okay, I'll give it a
yeah.
go. So I suppose the next question I have, and I think this one again kind of goes with everything else. I think you've kind of relayed, and also with what you're working on, a spiritual successor. So I feel like it's almost like you are doing it. But I was going to say, would you be making another? Would you make another roguelite or roguelite, or do you feel the market is too saturated? But
Our next game is not a roguelike.
oh, okay,
Uh, yeah. Um, but I don't think the market is saturated. And or I, I think there's always room for a really good game. So it's
ooh,
yes.
in this game you're
uh,
a connoisseur.
I'm kind of sort like I think I I don't know.
you,
Like I told you before, I love roguelike games.
yeah, I think they work well.
And they fit my lifestyle, like the limited time I have to play games and all that, and what I enjoy. I can't anymore play a 20 hour narrative game or a game with a story,
Yeah,
basically. I can't. I bounce off after 4 or 5 hours.
it does make it
Uh,
difficult. I mean, even when
yeah.
and I absolutely love the game, and I played through Memoriam, and I had the devs in it. It was a lovely chat and everything like that, and I absolutely do love the game. But
Yeah.
even then, like I had to play through that like five different sessions and over the course of 5 days of just kind of jumping in for a couple of hours here, a couple of hours there, kind of thing, just because life is busy. And sometimes I just want to jump into a VR game one night, play it for 4 hours, and go, "Oh, awesome, I'm done," kind of thing. But also, I kind of understand why you don't want that as well. It's a weird one, yeah.
Sure, sure. And now, like a lot of the metrics that the platforms care about is if your game is replayable and like is it sticky? What's your retention like and all that. So it's a one-off experience, a one-off narrative, short narrative experience is harder to sell. Like,
Yeah, it's a shame. It is a shame.
but I think there's still room for like interestingly crafted roguelike games. Like it's roguelike is just a genre. It's like, is the game good? Is it making good use of, like, offering interesting choices to the player and like interesting trade-offs, uh, and and pushing some new ideas. Uh, I think there's still room for that. Yeah.
No, I think you're right, and I do. I think a lot of time I play roguelikes, I always find there's something new in one that does something that I wish the previous one would have done, kind of thing. I've never played a roguelike though that kind of does everything that I wanted to do all in one go,
Sure.
and
Sure.
I think that's quite interesting. And at that point, I feel like you could just say, "Well, dude, make your own fucking game then," and I
Well.
would completely understand that, but I can't. I'm not skilled enough. But my point is that I also kind of like that. I like that it's like not giving me that comfort of something that I preferred from the previous one. It's now throwing me something else. I'm like, oh, now I've got to learn that. I don't like that. I've
Hmm.
got to learn that. It's that I think the best thing about roguelikes is that kind of that build up, and you've got to keep learning what this game's now throwing at you, what these enemies do, what's their special, their alt attack, and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's quite interesting as well.
Yeah.
So I think,
And you feel like you're getting better at the game,
yeah.
and like, things you stumbled on before, like, are now easy to overcome, and you're at that next challenge, and then a good game offers you that next layer of challenge. Like, one of my favorite roguelikes, is Spelunky. Like,
Yeah, I remember playing it on the Xbox back in the day.
yeah, yeah. I, and Spelunky 2 is an even better version of that first experience. It's like, for that's a game that took a long time to make, and it's extremely refined. Like, there's very little fluff in there. There's very little stuff that repeats itself. Like, there's always something new to do in each level, like as part of a whole run. And I, I love that about that game. It's so elegant in that way. There's the base game that you could just beat, and then there's this whole secret chain. Like, it's like a dozen different things you have to do across different levels, that with unique items, and it just builds up in a really nice way. And that's something I wanted to have in Sweet Surrender that we didn't manage to pull off, because we
So why don't you just make Spelunky in VR?
that was my dream with Sweet
Well,
Surrender.
that's actually my next question. I feel like I don't even. It was if you could make any first party IP game into VR, what would it be? I mean,
Well,
I know that Spelunky's not a first party game, but I guess if you could make any game, it's I feel like you would say Spelunky now.
I would say, I tried to make Split, but like, we couldn't do destructible terrain and all
That'd
that.
be
No,
cool.
if it was a dream IP, it would be, Halo.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
like, and there's a PCVR mod of the,
Oh, the first game, yeah.
yeah.
I still need to
I
play it.
mean,
I'm
it's
so behind. When mods come out, I'm like, awesome. I love that people are doing this, but it's almost like every time I play a mod, it reminds me why I don't rave about mods. If that makes
it's
sense.
work.
Yeah,
It's,
it's
it's
it's like I'm like, oh, finally I got this to work, and now I have 30 minutes left of my evening to play, and then I'm like, I have to do this all over again tomorrow. And it's a
yeah.
weird one. I know UEVR made it all better and all that kind of stuff, but I'm almost like, I know that's not accessible for everyone, and
No,
my whole thing is like, I want everyone to play VR. I want, well, I don't. I want to be the
uh,
cool kid. Remember?
uh, absolutely. There should be, like, Halo 1, Halo Combat Evolved should be out on Quest, an official release, right? Like,
That's what they should have done
I've,
when they did their Xbox headset. That's what they should have done. We're bringing Halo to Quest, and people would have been like, well, awesome. Time to drop a wad of cash on a Quest.
yeah, I would have absolutely loved to work on that. Like, I think next year is the 25th, 25-year anniversary. It should be perfect release for the
So,
Quest.
so
But
you're reaching out to Xbox as we speak, yeah?
yeah, I heard that. I don't think they're interested, um, for whatever reason.
Damn.
But like, yeah, Halo Combat, co-op in VR, uh, would be such an amazing experience.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that would be awesome. Like,
yeah,
and the thing is, like with the fast pacedness of Sweet Surrender, I think you could pull it off. I think you guys understand how to make combat fun in VR, and I think that's certainly something you have going for Sweet Surrender.
yeah,
Again, I don't necessarily think. I hope if this episode does anything, I hope more people go pick up Sweet Surrender.
that'd
Just
be
simply
awesome.
because it would be awesome for you. He has
Yeah.
mouths to feed. Okay, people go buy his bloody game. No, obviously buy a game only if you want to. But my point is that I do agree with you. And it was also nice to hear you say, "Nah, it was timing. It was this." You didn't turn around and go, darn fucking PSVR2's ruined everything. Because you do hear that
No,
sometimes,
it's
like, oh, I released my game on PSVR2 and it was a failure. But and I'm not saying your game was a failure. I'm also just kind of like overselling it there in a sense. But it's nice to hear you say, no, actually, I think if I did this better or I did this better, this probably would have landed better. And I think that's
it
nice to hear.
absolutely. Yeah, I can't blame the PSVR2 community. They've been like, it's been really cool. It's been our first big release in 4 years, so it's the first time where we're getting a lot of fresh feedback from people
Yeah.
again, and that's been awesome. Um, but also the community's been very willing to engage with us and give us feedback. Like we had lots of interesting discussions on Reddit on,
It's one
you
thing
know,
I find with
yeah,
the
yeah,
PSVR2 community actually is that they are the most vocal. And while that is a good thing, it can also be somewhat of a bad thing because I think sometimes their vocalness can come across as quite aggressive at times.
yeah.
Yeah, but
But
it's passion. I kind of describe the PSVR2 community as a lot of Gordon Ramsays. Just a lot of them just kind of while they're screaming and shouting at you, it's coming from a place of love, kind of thing. It's a weird one. Just imagine them all as Gordon Ramsay, and you'll see what I mean.
yeah, no, it's the feedback's been great. Like it's like both positive and any type of critical feedback. Or could you add this, or have you thought of trying that, or I don't like this. But it's been very constructive. So like we've got a lot of feedback. We're working on a patch. We're working on a few improvements as well. Like and we'll just see how it evolves from there. But like I like making the game for PlayStation was a gamble on our part. We tried to like limit our risk, try to scope it properly, do it when we knew we had the resources for it, and I didn't plan any. I planned on zero revenue in our budget, and I had a certain expectations. Like for us, 2,000 units would have been like a nice number, and we unfortunately haven't come close to that. So, or yeah, I
would
think
you
we're at.
would you say the number or
I checked this morning. We're at 323 units. Yeah, it it's fine. Like I've already gone
it,
past
it, it
the
it's
all the
it's it's
stages.
it's weird though because like it's one of those things where it's like
Yeah,
I I enjoyed the game. I wouldn't say it's a groundbreaking game, but I'd also might say it's somewhat a product of its time, but also still works at this time. If that kind of makes
yeah.
sense. I still think it deserved to sell more than that, and it's almost kind of like that's just it's upsetting. Like when you said you would sell like 2,000, 3,000 units, I was kind of hoping you were going to say you're already at 1,000. Like I thought that's what you were going to say. I did. It's an
A
interesting one.
thousand in the first week would have been really nice. Would have been like, okay, that's a really nice trajectory, and it's a modest. Or 2,000 is a modest goal as well, like in terms of what that means in raw revenue. But it would have been like, okay, that's decent momentum, and uh, we can keep reinvesting in that. And
I mean, like
we'll see how it does over the holidays and all that. Again, I'm not disappointed by the experience. Like I
no.
learned so much. Like just upgrading the game, all the issues we fixed, and like uh, we have a really nice base, and we can keep improving the
And
game.
the thing is, like the people that I have seen that have played it, like
Yeah,
the people, other content creators that I've seen who've played it, none of them have kind of walked out and went, "This is a bad game, don't buy it." They've all kind of said, "This is a good game. There's decent things about it. There's things that could have been better." But I also feel like that's something we say about every single bloody game we play these days. Like, I feel like
sure.
it's take Reach for instance, decent game, but this could have been better. And then that's a game with a higher budget than you've got. But there's this what I'm trying to say. There's so many games where I feel like Sweet Surrender still kind of had that same outcome as pretty much every game I feel like I've played this year. Nothing I've played this year where I've went, this is perfect. Nothing can be changed, and this is the best thing I've ever played. And
Yeah,
and I think like I'm also a firm believer that you don't get that. I don't think I've ever played a game where I'm like, this is a 10 out of 10. I wouldn't change a thing. But I also think I'm a really picky arsehole where I'm like, no, don't like that. Get that out of
yeah,
there.
sure.
So it's
I
an
I,
interesting one.
I think we would have dropped the game 8 months earlier, or even a year earlier. It would have done differently. Like,
Yeah,
and that's so that's
like you said with launch though, I think if you did that on the launch window, I think you would have seen numbers because it was that kind of first week where even myself, I think I dropped £200 in the first week on when the PSVR2 dropped. Not because I didn't have stuff to play. I bought a couple of games. hell, I didn't even finish Horizon. Like I got Horizon with my PSVR2, and I was like, I don't care about Horizon because I'm not big on the franchise. I care
Sure.
about all these other games that are on there.
Yeah.
And I think I dropped like I even put out a tweet to the point where I was like, right, I got about £70 left. First dev to respond, show me your trailer, kind of thing. And then like three of them responded. I was like, cool, right, awesome. And that's how I ended up playing that Zombie Land. I think I ended up playing a Star Citizen, not Star Citizen, Star Tenders, which is like the bartending one. There's so many of these
Hmm.
different games that I'd never had heard of, and these devs are just kind of like, "This is our game. Do you want to take a look?" And I'm like, "Awesome!" And then that just kind of started this whole thing. Where I was just trying all these random games. I was like, "These are the games I want to play. Is these little random games that I've never heard of." And then everybody's like, "I'm loving Horizon." I'm like, "I've not even touched it. I don't think I actually touched Horizon for like 3 months after the release
Right.
of the
Right.
PSVR 2. So yeah, I think if you did launch window, I think that would have been magical. But I also understand the limitations and things like that as to why you couldn't. So
Yeah. I mean, I can't judge a pass. That's for sure. And I think what's interesting though is like, how many active PSVR2 users are there like right now?
if you jump into the
Like
PSVR 2 without parole Discord, you'll see how many actives there is because I feel like they're all there. I feel like they're all just
they're
yeah,
literally all there.
they're all there. Yeah, you go in there and you mention the word quest. That's it. You do not come out with at least one bruise. And
Yeah,
I'm joking. I absolutely love the Game Cat Army. I think they're a very supportive community. They're very passionate and things like that. This is all said in jest. And Brian,
of
we've had him
course.
on before. I've been on there loads of times. Great place to be. They're all really good. But yeah, I think they're very, like I said, they are very vocal. And while sometimes that helps, I think sometimes it doesn't. That makes sense.
Uh, I get it. Yeah,
But let's not charm on for too long. I usually only keep guests here for an hour. I don't want to nick all your time. Plus, I'm pretty
that's
sure
all
you want
right.
to have a nice evening. And I actually kind of want to go jump into some Sweet Surrender now. We've been talking about it because I do actually want to try and get the platinum. So I might do some of that
That's
tonight.
that's great.
But before we go, I just want to quickly give a quick shout out to Golo and Phil, who are our monthly members on the channel. So thank you for the support. You help us pay for this. You know, we have to pay for this service. It makes it a lot easier. As I was saying to Yacine when we started, I probably wouldn't have carried on doing this year if we were doing it through Discord. I can assure you, it would have been a headache. So while I love Discord for chatting, I don't love it for voice videos and things like that. It just kind of does my head in. Whereas this works. So yeah, if anyone wants to follow us, YouTube, Twitter, Crossbutton VR everywhere, and make sure to go check out Sweet Surrender. You know, it's on PlayStation, it's on Quest, it's on Steam, and it's on Pico. And I actually do have one question now. One question before we go. All right, you ready for this?
Go
Are the
ahead.
sales on PlayStation higher than Pico?
Um, yes,
Okay, guys, we did it. We beat Pico. Once again, we
the
beat
Pico.
Pico. Give yourselves a clap. We beat the Pico.
So it's only available in China and Pico.
Oh, okay, there we go. That's why we beat Pico. We did something.
No,
Not this.
they're
It
they're
might not necessarily be
th-
classed as a victory, but we did
they've
something.
already surpassed Pico, so
So what? I don't
that's
know if you ever
also
seen like
possible.
Ghost of Tabor. They got like the stat checker, and I absolutely love looking at it every now and then because it'll show you like how many people are playing on Quest, how many people are playing on PC, PS2,
Okay, I've
and
seen that.
it's really
Yeah.
interesting because you'll see like Quest having loads of play people, and then PC having loads, and then it comes up Pico, and it's just like one or three people, and then everyone else got hundreds. It's like, ah, like those lovely Pico people still enjoying the game. Do you know what I mean? It's sweet. But yeah, I'm glad to
Oh,
see.
that's funny. Yeah, it says 3 right now.
And again, I absolutely love Tabor. I actually found out about Tabor because of YouTube videos, but again, I found it on the Meta store because of App Lab, and I jumped straight in, bought it, and absolutely loved my time. So they're doing great things as well. I think
Oh, it's an awesome game.
VR developers are doing great things. I think you guys are some of the most passionate people in the industry. I think it's
Oh,
great to see. And you see, it's been absolutely lovely talking to you. If you ever want
same
to come
here.
back on and rave about things, maybe when you start to market your next game, maybe you can come on and
I'd
tell
love
us
to
all
do
about
that.
it because I would love to
Yeah,
hear about it as well. You've intrigued me with the multiplayer. You've intrigued me also by saying it's not roguelike, but at the same point, I'm
it's
kind of
not
like,
roguelike.
oh, uh, but I'm interested.
It's not roguelike, but it has roguelike
Oh,
elements.
okay.
No,
It has
no, it's
roguelike, light elements. But no, this has been an absolute pleasure, my friend. It's been lovely
yeah,
talking to you, chatting with you on Twitter and things like that. And I feel like our chats have been very much just talking about games and the industry and things like that. And I think it's been quite eye opening as well from yourself as a company that started and all that kind of stuff. So it's been lovely talking to you.
Same here, and thank you for all your support and for this podcast and for your channel and just for supporting VR games in general.
You're
It's really
welcome.
appreciated.
It's
Yeah.
one of the things we've always wanted to do on Crossbutton is talk about the little guy. I think is the best way of
Hmm.
putting it. And you usually find that even when it comes to like the end of year when we talk about the games we love the most, I say we, like I've still got the other hosts here, but they've kind of vanished. But it's like even like last year, our game of the year was Sushi Ben. Like
Oh,
of all
nice.
the other games that could have released, like Alien Rogue Incursion, we had Behemoth, and there's all three of us like, nah, Sushi Ben was the best game that came out on PSVR2 last year. and that's why we're different. That is why we are the different. We're the bit of the black sheep of the VR community, I think, because
Oh, that's awesome.
what everyone will look as
Yeah.
the most amazing game, we're like, nah, it might be good, but it didn't make me feel anything, you know. So
Yeah. What's the game that left the biggest impression on you? All right.
yeah, sushi. I got to eat sushi with random people in a community. It was fantastic. But I will leave it there. Thank you everyone that watches. I appreciate it a lot. If you want to go drop in our Discord, you can go do that. Description for all the links, and I will put a link in the description as well, so you can either go buy Sweet Surrender on Quest, you can go buy it on PSVR2. I'm not going to put the Pico link because I'm not going to find that one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
You
but
won't
I
find it.
will put the Steam link though. You know.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Take it easy and goodbye.